Hi everyone, welcome to Bikini Design Club. Let's start sewing our bikini pattern top sunset. So let's start sewing our sunset bikini pattern top. I have here, this is a draft pattern, but never mind, it's my size. And you see here the asymmetric cut, and you see the back piece, which of course you will then need to cut symmetric. But all this is mentioned on the PDF file. I have already cutted my main fabric, which will be this one, which I really love. And of course, I also cutted my second fabric, which is this rust shiny fabric, which I think it goes great with the tone of the dots on the blue fabric. I've also went ahead and cut a long strap and a shorter one. I'm gonna sew this, folding in half, applying elastic, and I'm gonna start by sewing the darts on both fabrics. If you want to learn more about the darts, you have a specific video on how to sew darts available if you want to learn in detail how to sew them. In this tutorial, I just want to show you one of the ways you have to sew the sunset pattern. So I'm not going to be extensively explaining how to sew darts or how to sew the straps and all those details, because you have tips and tricks available that you can watch, and also a specific video for the darts. With our straps reversed to the right sides, let's align the sides. When you align the sides, you will see that you have a sticky edge peeking out on the top and on the lower edge here. So if you see, you have a sticky edge here. Never mind of this, because when you sew using the seam allowance, it will be perfect connection between the front and your back piece. Repeat the process for the main fabric and also for the lining. Don't forget that this is a reversible pattern, and you have many ways of sewing it. This is the one under this tutorial will only be one of the possible ways. But if you want to make this reversible, you should construct the channel on the back and go over with a small strap and making a bow on the back. And to create this channel, I'm going to show you how to create it on the top here, and you would repeat the process for the back, okay? But in my case, instead of using this to be able to tie with this, I'm gonna use a clasp. So this is the center back, and I have a clasp that exactly matches here. So I'm gonna use the clasp, which will make this pattern non-reversible in my case. However, I don't know if I change my mind till then, I will tell you. However, on the main pattern, the one that you bought, on the center back seam here, instead of having a seam allowance like I have on my drawing here, you will have a fold line here. So the back will be a continuous piece with no seam on the center, okay? If you then want to add a strap and a channel on the back, you can do it. Extend and make a seam allowance like I have here, or if you want to add a clasp, you also, instead of the fold, you add a seam allowance. Of course, when I will sew this, I know that I will have excess fabric length-wise. So probably I added a 0.5 seam allowance, because then when I fold this inside, I know that I will have enough just to secure the clasp and to make it nice on my back, okay? Like 1.5 centimeters instead of the 0.8 seam allowance I have here. Well, let's move on, and as I was telling you, attach the back to the front, right sides facing together, like so. In the case you had the back all in one piece, an entire back, you have a tutorial for 𝗔𝗹cie, which is available on YouTube, and you can see how you can sew it as a reversible with an entire back. It would actually be very, very easy, because we would not sew the side seams here. We would sew front with front and back with back, and then we would insert the back inside the front and sew over the 4 layers. So it would actually be very quick, but you can watch that method on the 𝗔𝗹cie. Well, now that I have here my front and my back together, main piece and second fabric, I'm going to, don't forget that when you cut, you have to make sure that this is asymmetric, so you must have the fabrics right sides facing together. The darts must be sewn in place correctly so that you have the shoulder to the same side, okay? This is a mistake I do a lot when I'm sewing reversible asymmetric patterns, is that I do the darts wrong and then I have to remake them. Well, you get it. Well, now right sides facing together, I'm just going to start by sewing the top edge here, all the neckline till the top there, and from the edge there until the center back. All of this always applying elastic. You could see that some small details make all the difference, at least for me. One of the things I do is I always pin with the side where I'm going to apply the elastic facing up on my table. That's what I did here. I pinned the fabric with the main side facing up. This is so that I can remember when I'm sewing that it's more intuitive for me, the position of the pins and the fabric. I'll always remember to sew the elastic on the right side. Then this edges here, specifically this curve here and this edge here, I'm going to do a basting stitch. So I'm going to go to my straight stitch machine, lengthen the length of my stitch, and I'm going to do like a basting stitch on this area here and on these 2 areas here, just to make sure that the fabrics stay completely together even when I remove the pins, so that when I go to my overlock and I'm controlling the curve, which is something that you need to learn how to do it if you don't know how to do it. Don't stretch the fabric, just try to accommodate and feed your machine, but do not stretch the fabric. And so for me to be able to do that and to make it easier without the pins, I'm going to baste stitch the curve here, here, and here. So I have sewn my elastic. I can pull the basting stitch because I left the threads in the end here somewhere. So I can pull them out, these orange ones, and remove them. Then what we need to do, I'm gonna do it off camera so that you don't lose time. You can leave them if they are inside your stitch, but of course when you then put your bikini on, it will you will hear the crack, and I don't like that very much. If you are selling your bikinis, that gives like an amateur feel, I think. So I always like to remove my basting stitches. Well, I'm gonna move on, so I will do it, but you don't lose time. I also trimmed slightly the elastic on the edge on the curve here. just because I know that it's going to lay a little bit better once it's on the correct sides. And what I'm going to do now is, sorry, can't help it, gonna stop, done. So we can trim the excess threads, and also the edge of the elastic, if you have an edge here, also trim it. Oh, I still have one here. And also this one here. I don't like sticky edges of elastic. It will give you a poor finish. And now we are going to sew the strap in place. Grab your smaller strap, face the beautiful side, not the side where you have the seam, the beautiful side against the main side of your fabric, of your swimsuit or bikini top or whatever. Slide inside here. If you need any help, grab your loop turner and grab your strap. And you can see that the pattern was designed so that this is the exact match of the strap. This is one of the tricks that you should always do. If you adjust the width of the strap or on the pattern, this is like a basic. This must match exactly. If it doesn't match, the connection between the main fabric and the strap will be very bad and you will not like it. So try to be very, very near so that it's just enough room for your strap to stick out, okay? Now I'm going to sew over the strap, and we also have a video for this in detail if you want to look for it on our channel, tips and tricks for the straps, perfect straps. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna sew a straight stitch, securing the overlock threads. I'm gonna do the same on this side. And as soon as I touch the strap, I will cross to this side. So if I want to be very, very, very accurate, I can actually use a pen. I usually don't do it, but I'm gonna do it just for you. You can draw here the line that you want to do, and as soon as the strap ends, you go over your overlock threads. And this is because we are gonna cut the excess once this is sewn in place. So it's very important to secure the overlock threads, okay? And this will give you the perfect finished strap. Believe me, I have tried it many times. Then we will also create a channel here. And since this is a reversible, I'm gonna create a channel. We could perfectly do it, finish it like it is, and then once it's on the right side, fold and create a channel with the fold. But if you do a fold, you will not have a reversible. So I'm gonna show you, if you want to do this reversible, how to do the channeling so that you can do it reversible. And to do so, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna close the top edge here of my strap. And then I'm gonna come to the table and I'm gonna show you with the pen, marking with the pen, where I'm going to reinforce the stitches. Then we are gonna seam rip some of the areas here, so it will enable us to create the channel between the two fabrics. And this will be ready to then insert this strap, okay? So let me show you. This is the side of the strap, which I've told you how to do it. Now I'm simply going to, as you can see, I have reinforced this side, crossed and reinforced again. And now the only thing missing is cutting away, a little bit away from that line. Of course, you don't want to cut that thread. And that's it. Your strap is ready, and once you reverse it, it will be very, very nice. This one, let me show you what I did here. Let me first cut all these small threads. It's in orange because I think it's much better for you to see with the black. So I stitched here so that these threads from the overlock are secure. I stitched here again to secure the overlock threads, and then I stitched there from one edge to the other. This is actually a straight stitch, but it's elastic, just because my machine has and I used it. So this area here is going to be open. We are gonna seam rip this area here, and we don't have any problems of the rest of the overlock because it was reinforced with the other stitches, okay? So open this side, and by doing so we will have the channel we need. And this would be exactly the same process if you wanted to create a channel on the back, on the center back, and still have this pattern as a reversible, and you would then use a strap, a thin strap, to tie and close your back bikini. As you may know, the thin straps we have, the thinner they are, the more they stretch. And so to make this adjustable for you, what I always recommend, and I do this in a lot of my patterns, is having a ring or a strap adjuster, which I will attach on the back. And so when I come over with my straps, you have two options. One of them is putting on your body, adjusting to your size, and cut and sew, and it will be together, and that's it. The one that I prefer is leaving the straps a little bit longer, and then I tie a knot. And sometimes I tie the knot a little bit tighter, sometimes a little bit looser. It will depend on the day that I'm at. My body changes, all the bodies change, and sometimes there are slight adjustments that are very nice for you to be able to do. So I'm gonna grab my longer strap. I'm going to create a small loop like this one. So I'm gonna create 3 of them actually. One, I think this is long enough for me to cut 3 of this. Yeah, it is, I'm sure it is. So I'm gonna cut 2 and 3. And now when you have your back and your front and you fold this on the side seam, you can see perfectly where you should sew the channeling aligned with the front so that the strap comes straight. Of course, we still haven't attached the clasp here, which will make this move a little bit more, but well, it's not a huge deal, it's just a matter of detail, okay? I'm gonna choose mine 7 centimeters from the edge. That's what I'm gonna put my strap, okay? Or 8 centimeters. So I'm gonna mark 8 centimeters here and 8 centimeters here, because I actually have one strap coming straight, and from the front I have 2 straps, one coming to this side and one coming this side. So on this side I need 2 straps, and one on this side I need 1 loop strap. So here I'm gonna put one 8 centimeters away from the center and the other one just on the sides, and here 8 centimeters. I'm gonna mark, I'm gonna cut, reinforce the stitches so that they do not come out. I'm going to sew this like this together, and we will insert this here. I will show you. Let's start by sewing this together. I'm gonna use my needle and hand stitch this so that this is stable. Before I seam rip the holes, I'm going to reinforce on each side so that my overlock threads will not unfold in the future. now I'm just gonna sew here with a zigzag and reinforcing it, and then cut the excess, and I will do the same for the other one. So I have trimmed all the excess. We are almost finishing. Now I'm gonna sew the lower part here from one edge to the other, tucking my strap inside. I'm gonna flatten the darts when I sew over them. I always do this with the darts. I flatten them. If you want, do a basting stitch on the darts area so that you make sure that they are flattened, okay? This is to achieve the perfect finish that we want. And once you have sewn, applying the elastic on the sides of your main fabric again, we will then reverse the entire pattern using one of the holes from the side seam, from the back, center back seam, okay? Now, we are ready to close the lower part of our top, but instead of doing it already, I'm going to remove a little bit of fabric from the lower parts from my second fabric, okay? So this is not something that it's mandatory. I only do it to avoid the excess fabric that almost all reversibles have. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna remove almost 1/4 of an inch, not 1/4 exactly, but almost. I'm gonna remove it from one edge to the other on the back, on the back and front. So under the bust, all around from the back to the front. And then I will be sewing the two fabrics together, applying the elastic on the sides of our main fabric. I know it looks a strange thing to do, but you have seen me doing this a lot to avoid excess fabric. Now I'm gonna tuck in the strap. This is a bit too much improvisation from my side, so let me improvise a little bit more. Okay, and now I'm still going to align the darts, and I'm going to align the darts flatten, of course, and I'm going to line the lower edge of my top from one edge to the other. And once I have sewn and applied the elastic, I'm going to use one of the side holes to reverse it to the right side. If you feel your fabric is too short, don't worry, it will be fine. Go align. I'm gonna pretend that I'm pinning from the other side, because you know I always like to pin from the side that I'm going to apply elastic. I'm gonna align, even though it looks like it's strange, because this is looking like I have excess fabric on the main one. Believe me, it will make the finish much better. And I'm gonna do the same on this side, and then we are ready to overlock with the elastic. So I just inserted my loop turner on the small hole that I left. I think I left it too small, but let's see if I can pull this all the way through inside. I don't think so, but I think I did it too small. This is one of those times where I need to stick my eyes very near what I'm doing, and so it's hard doing it for the camera. But I'm gonna try. Okay, done it. Half. And here we have the strap on the top edge there. This one is also very nice and smooth, as you can see. This is, once it's washed and it's on your body, it will look a lot different than on the table. And I gave a little bit of tension on the elastic here, as you can perfectly see, but it was not a lot. It was just a slightly little bit, just a little bit, just under the bust here. I don't even need to do it, but I don't know why when I was sewing, I felt like doing it, so I did it. Well, now of course, we have our clasp, which is very easy. We will just insert the clasp here, fold this, and usually what I do is I pin this in place. I try it on to see if the fitting is okay. It should be okay. If you do it like I'm doing here with 2 centimeters inside here and again 2 on this side, it will for sure be okay. But again, if you are doing this for someone else, you should do like make them try the bikini before you sew the clasp in place. I'm gonna try it on, and then I'm going to, using my zipper foot, I'm gonna stitch here vertically on both sides. And of course, when I do this, and then I'm gonna trim the excess, this is not going to be reversible because it will be ugly on the inside. So what I meant and I'm not going to be using it on this side because I already have a bikini on with this color, so I didn't want another one. What I'm going to do anyway is that what I wanted to tell you is that the method we did here, and I explained you how to do it. If you had done it here, you would be able to create a channel to close the back. Of course, you had to leave a small opening below the bust to reverse this to the right side because these holes are too small, but then you would close it with a ladder stitch, which you also have a video. If you don't know how to do it, you also have a video on how to do it. So I'm gonna share some pictures of how this looks once it's ready. And that's it for today, girls. I hope you like it, and I hope to see your own sunset patterns sewn with your imagination. See you soon. Bye, girls.